stay tuned. You don't want to miss it.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the AFTERBUZZ TV After Show for The Voice. We are going to be chatting about the top 10 tonight. We're dancing, breaking it down.
Breaking it.
This is one of the songs one of the artists sang tonight, Chris Blue, sang it for us tonight. So we'll chat about that in a bit. But for now, I'm your host. My name is Dani Golub, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Dani Golub. Fellow hosts, where can they find you?
I don't know. I'm just winding up for
plug
this.
Your ears for Chris.
Find me at Chris Howard Live on Twitter and Instagram.
Hey guys, I'm Allie Bailey. You can find me Allie Bailey _1 on social media.
And if we missed Brooke tonight, give her a shout out because she's being Wonder Woman at some DC Comics event. So
who would know? She is Wonder Woman.
Yes, she plays Wonder Woman for DC, I guess. So she's at some film festival for them right now in full on.
She does Comic-Con,
yeah,
all the Comic-Cons.
So check her out on Instagram. I think it's Brooke Lacey H. She'll be all Wonder Woman'd out.
That's cool that we got Wonder Woman on our panel.
Yeah, we have Wonder Woman on our panel.
I know.
Right?
I got a resident superhero.
And we won't tell you who we are.
Yeah, I'm like secret. It's at night, you know. I come out in the dark time.
Jessica Jones.
Sometimes Dani's a comedian.
Sometimes I'm a comedian. Who knows? Anyway, so let's chat about tonight's artist. I'm just gonna kind of go in a random order.
Okay.
I have to talk about the one that just strikes me right off the bat was Aaliyah's
Oh, that's
from
so
last
random.
night. It wasn't random because that was a really powerful performance. She sang "Jealous" by Labyrinth, which she had dedicated to her father, and it was such an emotional performance that by the end she just totally broke down. And to be honest, I had chills even before she broke down because I love that song, and it was just really different for her. It was a different pace. I'm used to seeing her like smiling, getting the audience going, and this kind of just showed versatility. What do you guys think?
I loved it. I totally agree with you. I thought it was a great song choice to show a different side of her that we haven't seen, and most of her performances have been kind of a little bit more rowdy, and this really slowed it down, and I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah, it was very powerful, very rousing, and I think it was her best performance.
Yeah.
It was just, there's some of the, like you said, there's been a couple of performances, like in the last couple of episodes specifically, that were a little kind of
maybe teeny bopperish.
Yeah.
Like,
okay, thank you.
That's what I said. I felt like it was a little Disney Channel, which is not bad, but
but it wasn't great either. It was kind of took her off her strength, but this was powerful.
And I felt like it showed a lot of maturity in her artistry to be able to be so in touch with the music
and the emotion too.
She's a young girl, she's 15.
Did it bother you that she was crying at the end?
No, I thought it was great. I mean,
it was cool.
The way that the coaches made it seem when they were chatting about her was like, oh, we've all been there before. It's okay. And I was like, I actually think it added to the performance.
Exactly.
I wouldn't even say it's okay. I would say, good for you.
Perfect.
She wasn't able to finish the last two words, but she got the whole song out, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
And you could feel her emotion the whole time.
Yeah.
And that's the authenticity and that that organic place.
It's beautiful. And she looked absolutely gorgeous. That dress was lovely on her, and what a nice girl too. Like we've
she's
had
awesome.
We've had her here.
Tweets us all the time.
Yeah, we had her in, and so it's nice to see a good person doing so well and like having some success. So shout out to you, Aaliyah. It's great. The next one I want to chat about, someone who also did something very different from what they typically do, was Jesse Larson on Team Adam. His was very upbeat. He performed Jungle Love by The Time, and I feel like we're used to seeing him do songs like Gravity and like slower and maybe like Feelings, and this time it was like upbeat. He had choreography. It was like, I think that sometimes a couple of these artists at this point in the competition realize that they have to
mix it up
in order to not just like become trite, which is why I think maybe
they watched our show,
and maybe Lily and like Vanessa and Marc kind of fell into that bottom three tonight because they kind of did something similar to what they've done in the past. Whereas I feel like some of the artists that maybe Jesse was great. It wasn't my favorite performance of his, but I think maybe because it was different.
It was fun to see him dance.
Yeah.
He started off dancing and stuff. I thought it was really fun.
It was a full performance.
I mean, he obviously has an amazing voice, but definitely, I agree with you, different from his other performances.
Different choice. Like, I loved the song choice at first. At first, I was like, oh, good, we're going to get to see a different side of him. This is what I've been waiting for. But then it just kind of left me flat.
It fell flat.
Yeah, and so I was like, he's got such a great voice. He's such a great artist, but he fell off the map for me in this episode. I thought, okay, I'm not going to be voting for him in the number one position.
It wasn't my favorite of his, but
this one just kind of counted him out for me. Even though nice guy, great, incredible.
Good enough to go through. That's
good enough to go through, but he's not going to be in my top.
Speaking of one of the bottom three, Vanessa Ferguson, who's actually the one who ended up making it through. Last night she sang "Do Up," aka "That Thing" by Lauryn Hill.
I thought it was really fun.
I love that song. And I thought this performance was, like, so Alicia Keys, because she rapped, and, like, she was in the yellow suit and dyed her hair blonde.
She looked beautiful. I thought this was the most beautiful she's...
she looked amazing, but I just think that maybe, like, the rapping didn't really show off her vocals.
I'm with you 100%.
And when the certain part of the song when she wasn't rapping, I thought was so great.
Yeah,
and I wish there was
Marc
more.
ran into that in the past, too, because that's kind of Marc Isaiah's thing, is he does, you know, taking rap songs like Lil Wayne or Drake and kind of making them more R&B, which I feel like she tried to do with this. But, like, again, we lose out on that.
I thought she was just slightly off in the rap. Like, she didn't own it. You know, it's just like, it doesn't sound right coming out of her. So, for me, that was enough to make it a quirky performance. And I thought, okay, I'd probably let her go. I think it was a very poor choice of song for her. I know they were trying to show versatility, but...
I think they also were trying to maybe make her a little bit more likable, because like we said in the past, she's come off a little harsh in this song, and like
she looked great.
The
Hair
yellow
looked great.
in the song kind of made her more playful. But
it's hard to do a rap, I think, for this show. So I think that she did a really good job doing that, but it's hard to really, I guess, see, like... hear their voice when they're rapping.
Yeah, although I mean, but when somebody's good at rapping, you go, man, that rocks. You know, there's just it just kind of resonates and clicks.
I felt like that when parts of the song when she wasn't rapping.
Right.
I sometimes find that the best singers aren't necessarily the best rappers,
Not at all.
and vice versa. Like Drake, I don't know how well he like full on sings a ballad, but he can rap.
Like, I'm a great rapper and you're a great singer.
I'm such a good
and we
singer.
just can't.
I wish. Anyway, speaking of Marc, let's chat about him. Unfortunately, he went home, which is such a bummer because he's so good. And last night, I think, was his strongest performance. I actually texted Allie while I was watching. Yes, because
we were watching at the same time too, and she texted me.
Sign of the Times was a really good song choice for him. I think, and he played piano. And I
because Allie went to the program live.
She did. Allie was there live, so she got some inside scoop. But regardless, I thought that this was a really good cover, and I thought that playing the piano showed like some more musicality for
That was
Marc.
neat.
It was. But my problem, and I think this is where he fell flat, was to compete with Harry Styles, which is literally what he had to do, is nearly impossible with the demographic he's going for, because he's competing with a song that's currently on the iTunes chart. Not just a song where it's like you have to make someone want to buy your version. You literally have to make someone want to buy your version instead of Harry Styles' version right now, because it's like in the top 10 itself on iTunes right now. I don't know how you
She
expect
is
it
so
to sell.
strategy.
We were talking about this last week, but there is a lot of strategy.
Yeah, there is.
Because at this
Strategy.
point, it's how well you do on iTunes, and so you kind of have to
Because
think about that.
those bump your votes, I think, by 10 times.
We are like so well informed now about how the show works. I love it. It wasn't my favorite performance of his. I didn't like his falsetto.
Really?
I didn't think his falsetto was really strong.
You could tell he struggled with it on a couple notes, but for the most part, I thought it was, you know.
Because
he has a really great voice.
But when you go into that falsetto, it's got to be perfect and sound right. Otherwise, it sounds off. And I just felt it sounded off. And I like him, but this was another performance where I thought, okay, not going to be in my top anymore.
Yeah, it was cool to see him do something a little bit different. Than
The piano before. I thought was
I didn't even know
really
he
good.
played piano.
Yeah, he'll go far in his musical career.
Oh, I was literally just going to say that. I think this is far from the end for someone like Marc. I think that this was a really good platform for him to get his career started, and he's gained a huge social following from this, and he has like legitimate fans.
Yeah, for all of them. I mean, you got Lily, you got Marc, you got Vanessa. They're all going to go far. There's no doubt about it.
I agree, but I think especially someone like Marc in his age range, like
he's young.
He's really young and marketable, and girls love him, but like he's also genuinely talented. I find that sometimes with like these, you know, teeny bopper kind of artists, they can't always sing.
Right.
Whereas someone like him, he actually can. So I think that there's some potential there for him to have a career, which is great. Someone who I think is on quite the other end of the spectrum and kind of makes me think that she already is like a Grammy-winning artist is Lauren Duski. Like, far from like the beginning of her career, I feel like she sounds like someone at the end of her career. Like, she is so
She amazed
talented.
me in this episode. This was my favorite performance
mature.
of Lauren.
She really is.
Yeah.
I felt like I was like at a Stagecoach performance.
She was
I was
beautiful,
like,
gorgeous.
Not
I mean,
only
gorgeous. I kept looking, going, damn, she's beautiful. Damn.
The way
So
she
I texted her,
looks
and
and
I'm like, and I said, you did really good, but I wanted to say you were beautiful, and then she liked my text.
You mean you tweeted her?
I tweeted her, texted
Yeah,
her.
like, do you have her phone number? Anyhow, yeah, the way she looked and the way she sounds is like the full-on country package.
Johnny told us that when he was on here, he's like, you know, she has what it takes to go the distance, and
Yeah, she's Team Blake.
Yeah.
Classic Team Blake.
Yeah.
What do you
Definitely
think?
still in my top. A great performance. I mean, she just
She's saying, "Tell me
she brings
why."
it every week, and I'm not surprised at all.
But
that
it was
she
so
slid
neat
in.
to see her do this different type of song because it wasn't kind of the standard country tune that she kind
It
of
was a little more
puts out there.
upbeat than what she
Yeah,
does.
exactly. And I think that's where she should live because it's so much. I know she's so good at what she does, but
Yeah.
it's like there was some magic about it tonight. I think.
And I loved her whole look. She had like a ponytail and like a tank top and jeans. It was a little more casual, which I feel like is more typical in the country scene, especially for concerts. Like I literally was thinking Stagecoach, whereas
Right.
I feel like we've seen a lot of them in these like full on gowns. Like Brenley last week
Like
was in that
overkill,
like
right?
was in that like full gown, and like Lily is always in these like heavy dresses, whereas I feel like it almost humanizes her a little. Like
Right.
here I am, just with me and my guitar and my tank top and jeans. Like this is who I am. Like
And I'm still
hair in a
gonna rock it,
ponytail.
and you're
I'm
still
still
gonna-
gonna
yeah.
look the best out of anyone,
Right.
and I'm
Suck
gonna
it.
sound the well. I'm
Well,
sure she
not
wasn't
suck.
thinking that.
Yeah.
But
That's a little far.
Well, okay.
regardless, I think that she like owned it for sure. Yeah, so I was not surprised to see her go through, and I would not be surprised to see her make it to the final couple
Or
if
win.
not
I think
win.
she'll be.
Yeah.
I think she's going to be in the final two.
I agree. Actually, I could see it coming down to like her and Hunter.
Her and Hunter. Yeah.
Those are my two. Anyway,
okay.
TSoul was who I had down next. He sang "At This Moment" by Billy Vera and the Beaters, and I think that has very cool style and like is very talented. For some reason, personally, on like an artist to consumer level, I don't connect with him as much as I think I want to, and as I'm sure other people do because he keeps pulling votes, so he must. But what do you guys think of him?
This was my absolute favorite performance. Of
Oh
his.
wow.
Yeah. See, that's. I mean, I think it's just me.
Because he trimmed back all the runs and the riffs and all the stuff, and I got to hear his voice, and it was beautiful. I wish he would do that every time. He would have me as a fan if he did that. It's just all of the runs all over the place just does my head in. But maybe they've taken that feedback, or maybe they've heard that from the audience and they've
From
applied
you.
it. For me, yes. I know TSoul's been watching the show. You're welcome, TSoul. Yeah.
No, I thought he ended really strong. I thought
Yeah.
it was a great performance, and I think that he found a really good balance between performing and singing very well.
Unlike last week, right? Because it was when he got into the performance, when he came back from behind the piano and he came out, it was over the top.
See, I liked it, but
You did when you laid down. You liked
I
that?
thought it was so cool.
Okay. It was you that we didn't like it, right?
I thought it was okay.
Okay.
Brooke
I didn't like
wasn't
it, right?
crazy about it. Yeah, Brooke said it makes it so you can't sing properly because
Right.
she's a singer, so she knows.
She
that
knows.
stuff. Yeah.
Wonder Woman.
Singing Wonder Woman. Our Sing Wonder Woman out there. Shout out to you. Anyway, next up was Brenley Brown. She came out in her cute little cowboy boots. Team Gwen. I think that Gwen and her have like an adorable little love affair at this point. But Brenley sang "Anyway" by Martina McBride. Yeah, I think that Brenley is really, really talented. I get like, don't hate me if you're watching and think this is rude, but I get like Hannah Montana vibes from her, like real life Hannah Montana, like
Right.
the country kind of vibes with the cowboy boots and the short little dress. Like she's adorable, and she obviously appeals to a really wide market.
Either her or Aaliyah, either of them could go do the Disney thing, like you said.
Totally,
Like,
they
you know,
totally
put
could.
them on Nickelodeon.
They could have
and,
a show
give them
together, like back to back.
Right? That'd be good, actually. Hey, let's pitch it.
Brenley's one of those girls that, similar to Lauren, that does so well each week. I don't think that this was my favorite one of hers, but still, like, she did such a great
I love this.
And
I
think
love
that-
the song that when I was listening to the lyrics, and it's like the emotions that they're gonna build it anyway. They're gonna just do it anyway.
Well,
It's like-
yeah, but I loved how it ended. I thought it ended so strong, and I'm obviously not surprised that she's moving on top.
She rarely has a fault in her performance. Like I can't remember.
Probably
one.
because she's so young, and it's like that attitude when you're that young, you probably don't really get that nervous because
Right.
you're like, well, I have nothing to lose. But
Yeah, who knows? Yeah.
Good point. Next up was my personal favorite.
Let me
hate
guess,
to be biased.
Hunter.
Hate to be biased, but yes,
Hunter.
Hunter sang Higher Love by Steve Winwood. And to be honest, I actually, call me crazy. I mean, I know it's an 80s song, but I didn't know this song before. I hadn't heard it before. I hadn't heard it before. Okay?
Crazy.
Call me crazy. I said call me crazy.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard the song before, but with that said, I was a little nervous with Hunter singing a song I hadn't heard before because usually I like have a connection to songs that I already have an affinity for.
Right.
And so I was like, oh
Did
gosh.
you tweet him? Oh gosh, I haven't heard the song. I don't know, Hunter.
But I was shocked at the fact that he sold me on this song, and not only did he sell me on the song, but like he made, at this point it kind of felt like it was an original. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like, and I was like, I need to buy this
He's
song.
so amazing that it's insane.
I love him. I told Dani this earlier.
Yeah.
I literally bought his iTunes song before I even listened to it on iTunes.
Really?
Because I knew I was going to love it. I bought all the songs. He's my favorite.
That's a marketable artist. He's so good that I think that it's just going to be a balancing act for them to balance the show to the point where he wins at the end. Yeah. He's that good. I mean, that's just... I
the
think
lasers and stuff were so cool.
I think he has no competition, quite frankly. He's so far and above, and I love Lauren, but he's so good.
And I think he's different.
We've talked about that. He's totally different, and the show hasn't really seen someone like him before, and I don't know. I think that it's cool to see someone like him do so well.
Yeah, and we love Johnny, but it was too bad that Johnny got paired with him right away because, I mean, shoot. You know?
Yeah, I think that he is different and unique, and no one like him has necessarily, in my knowledge, has actually won the show before.
Right.
So I think it would be cool to see someone like him. I think we usually see people with like these really big belty voices or country voices, or they're the ones that are able to like kind of step to the front. But Hunter is so like a quiet force. You know what I mean? Like he has like a unique talent that I haven't heard before.
Piercing falsetto that's just amazing, and it just goes so easily. And it's almost and remember they said that he hadn't sang any place outside of his church before he did this, which is crazy because like, and you see him and he's there and he's singing. Gwen's sitting in front of him, and he's just like he's so masterful in what he does that it's like it's really hard to believe that. It was just contained to a church, you know?
I think that whether he wins or doesn't win, he will have such a successful career in the
I hope so. I always kind of get bummed out when I think about this because I love to think that will be the case, but like I'm just looking at the past winners and even Top View, like a lot of them aren't where like the American Idol folks are, and you know what I mean?
I thought about that because I read articles about that. They'd said, oh, well, the show may not last that long because they're not turning out stars, and I thought, you know what? This show's really about, and you know, you schooled me when you say, well, they're not judges, they're coaches, and it's really about taking artists from here and seeing how far they can progress with them throughout that time. I don't think most artists don't go anyplace, and some people go off and they'll go be a school teacher afterwards or whatever, and they'll go back to their old profession. But it's all about the journey to see what they can do, and I think there's magic in that. So
and the voice experience.
And the voice experience. Yeah, just to take this journey with these people that because
these are opportunities they never would have had before.
Right.
So, yeah.
I mean, and some of them they have the talent of a lounge singer that you might see in a lounge someplace. It's not that they're the best singer on the planet.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like you could go down to the local bar and you might see somebody that's just as good, that has just as much talent as some of these singers.
But this puts them on a national platform.
Right. And so it's more about their journey of who they are and how much they grow and how much these coaches can contribute. And I think that's neat, regardless of where they go with it in their career path.
Yeah, it was very cool. Next up was what we opened with was Chris Blue saying 24 Karat Magic, and that was actually like in the top 20 trending videos on YouTube yesterday. Like it was crazy. That was even still today. It was that high. But yeah, that's Bruno Mars song, and similarly to how Marc had to compete with Harry Styles, 24 Karat Magic is still up there in the charts from Bruno, so to make those sales is a big deal.
And I think he did pretty well on the iTunes. He wasn't in the top out of the Blues artists, but he did pretty well. Yeah.
This was my favorite Chris Blue performance.
Was it?
I mean, to be able to sing and come up with that choreography for this performance is crazy.
Yeah, no, I mean,
and it was so good.
I thought the same thing. I know it wasn't your favorite because of the Bruno Mars.
Yeah, I thought that what I love seeing artists do is taking something and making it their own, like sort of like what Aaliyah did with Labyrinth song. Like it didn't really sound like the original. I mean, it did obviously because it's the same lyrics, but it felt different. And I think that Sundance Head did a really good job with that. He would take songs like My Church and totally make them different, almost unrecognizable.
And Hunter does that every time.
Hunter does that every time. And I think that's what's so cool about this show, and they're only really allowed to do covers, so you kind of are stuck in that box. But I felt like this almost felt like I was watching someone try to be Bruno Mars, and I think that the fact that he was as as talented, I mean, he was as talented as he was impressive and incredible, but like the dance moves, the song, the backup dancers, it was exactly like how Bruno Mars does it, which
I didn't have that frame of reference, but I totally get where you're coming from, because Bruno Mars is a rock star. He's awesome.
And I feel like it's like only because this song is so new that maybe I'm feeling like that. You know what I mean? Like I literally feel like I just watched Bruno do that exact performance like on SNL and on Ellen. You know what I mean? Like pretty much the same choreography, at least in my.
Yeah, you said it was almost like an impersonator.
Yeah, it sort of felt like that. But like, I mean, not to take away from his talent, because I think this guy's going like final 2 or 3, maybe even winning possibly, and I think he was incredible. But I just think that I wish it was a little bit more his own.
Right. Well, I liked it because it was a different type of song
for him. Yeah,
for him, and than he usually does.
It was more pop.
And it was something that I could relate to more. So like some of these artists, like both him and TSoul, haven't been doing music that I could relate to.
But can't you just see it, Chris Blue, performing, and like him doing his own Bruno, not the Bruno Mars thing, but his own dance, and I could totally see it.
Yeah, totally. I 100%. You know, he's gonna go, if he keeps on the same trajectory, he will go far.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I mean, I think it was great. I think personally for me, it wasn't my favorite of his, but I think he is well deserving to go very far in this competition, for sure. And probably in his music career in general, he's a very talented guy. And then last up, we unfortunately saw her go as well tonight, was Lily Pissarro. She sang Unforgettable by Nat King Cole. And this was actually my favorite performance of hers, similarly to how Marc's was for me. I just think that it maybe was kind of their time at this point. And I was talking about this, I think, before we went on the air, but just making it to the top 10 is like a huge deal. They made it to the top 10 on one of the biggest competition shows on television.
Right.
Everyone's so talented.
They're so talented at this point, and I thought that her song was so old Hollywood, and her voice was so cool and unique. But like I said, I think that she does kind of give off that like maybe like bar or lounge singer a little bit more than like I could be my own originals kind of artist, rather than I feel like she kind of sticks strictly to covers.
I kind of think of like, I want to say, even though I never saw it, like Jessica Rabbit, you know, when they're in those old speakeasy clubs where they're singing. And
I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I picture her in that type of an environment, like a flapper type girl. And I love. She's beautiful. She's gorgeous. The way she sings is really flawless. I don't hear flaws in the singing or anything. So it's really nice. But I don't think that nice is going to be what's going to win the competition at this point.
I like can't pick someone that she should have replaced, but at the same time, if she had made it through, I probably would be saying the same thing.
But it was lovely. It was lovely. And Lily, we want you on this show next week.
We would love to have
we
her.
would love to have you. So.
She has such a unique voice. I mean,
it was so cool.
I always love her performance every week.
Me too. And she's like, I mean, huge snaps to her, because she like made it through this whole thing while being sick.
Is that said?
Yes.
Oh, you would do
like claps, whatever, round of applause, because she made it through while being sick. And that's just like such a bummer to have to experience that, and like be able to push through and persevere is amazing. So good for her. And honestly, it's a bummer that she left, because this was my favorite performance of hers, and I thought it was amazing. And the fact that she can...
Well, they hit her flow, like with this one in the last performance. They found kind of a style,
her
right?
Voice, but yeah, so that's unfortunately we lost Lily and Marc tonight, but like I said, their careers are far from over. Do you want to do some predictions on who we see?
Did we hit everybody?
We did. It was only 10
Okay,
of
I have
them.
a question. What would you guys say Hunter's genre is for music? I was thinking about this.
Maybe alternative. I don't know.
Probably alternative. Yeah, that was like, where does Coldplay fall, and where does
almost like
because
we were
talking about earlier how much we like Hunter, and I'm like, well, whatever music he like, whatever that genre is, like,
I think
that's what kind of music I like.
5 for Fighting. Is it 5 for Fighting?
Google what genre is.
What genre is?
I think
okay,
it's like
I
think it's kind of like alternative pop rock maybe.
Oh shoot! If we had the chat up, we could.
I will find out.
We could have
I
asked
can
anyone.
do
We
it.
could have asked Betsy. She always answers us. I'm sure
Shout
Betsy's
out Betsy.
We hope you're watching.
Blake. I will find out.
Well, maybe we'll find out. Regardless, let's chat maybe about who we think.
Okay.
I think uniformly we think that maybe Hunter and Lauren. But if you had to throw a third wild card in the mix, who would your?
Chris. Chris Blue.
Oh, I thought you were calling me Chris.
No, I was just saying.
Come on.
What I was saying is, like, I think that
Right.
the majority of us, I'm speaking for myself, but I think that, like, Hunter and Lauren are going to probably be in the final.
I want Hunter to win, and I want to marry Lauren.
Okay.
Okay, so there you go. Now,
regardless, the who do you think, like, that third or fourth wild card that could get up there?
Okay, I'll marry TSoul. No, just joking. No, who do you think?
I think Hunter, Lauren, Chris Blue, and then I think maybe Brenley. And it's interesting because earlier in the season, Brenley and Lauren did either a knockout or a battle against each other, and they both moved on, and I could see them both in the final four.
Really? What's interesting?
Gwen stole Brenley from Blake, and Blake said that was like a huge bummer. He has a loser. He shouldn't have put those two up together.
I was looking at both Brenley and I always look at her and Aaliyah to kind of side by side. I love Brenley's good nature, her personality and stuff, but I think Aaliyah's kind of edged forward a little bit in my battle between the two of them. I mean, tonight's performance was so powerful.
Just in terms of, like, young women.
And just her performance ability and stuff. There's just something edgy about it that I like.
It was nice to see her do something different, which I think really helped her.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I honestly think that if Aaliyah kind of just pulled another trick out of that same bag of tricks that she'd been using, it might not have worked to her benefit, because, like, obviously someone like Marc or Lily, who we really didn't see going anywhere. Last week, Marc was in our predictions for our top few, so to see him go was shocking, and so I think Aaliyah was similar in that sense.
It's hard for me to put a third one in there, because I just think that Hunter and Lauren are they stand out and beyond everybody else, in my opinion. But probably I still have 3 of my team members left on my team.
I'm gonna pull up my team.
On the app, I've got Hunter, Lauren, and Aaliyah.
That's actually pretty good. That's pretty good. Usually
that's not bad, huh?
Yeah, usually they mine are all gone by that point. But yeah. I would definitely say Hunter, Lauren, and then, you know, I could see Chris Blue being up there as well in the final.
There's a few of them that could do it. I mean, Chris could do it. Aaliyah could do it. Brenley could do it.
Yeah, I could see Aaliyah going far if she pulls something similar to this week out next week and shows us something again totally different. Like, we've seen country from her, we've seen soul, we've seen pop. Like, she really.
Are we missing anybody? If it was Brenley.
Well, I mean, I could see Jesse getting top 4.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't pick him in the top 4, but I'm thinking about America.
Well, but
and
America.
I think that he could be in the top 4.
Yeah, who knows? Well, I guess we'll just have to tune in next week and see. Next week, I believe they're cutting it down from 8 to 4. So next week is the biggest cut. Yeah. So make sure next Tuesday you're on your phones doing that Twitter save, because it's going to be very important.
If you're watching, reach out to Lily and get her to come to do the show.
To have Lily
we need everybody to reach out to Lily and get her on the show next week. And maybe she could come with Johnny. Johnny can come back too.
Yeah, anyone's welcome.
Yeah,
we'd love to have them all. But if they want to continue the conversation with you about these fine artists, where can they
reach
find
out
you on
at
social
Chris
media?
Howard Live on Twitter and Instagram anytime.
Yeah. You guys can find me Allie Bailey _1 on social media.
And you can find me everywhere at Dani Golub. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you next week.
Ciao.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.